Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another interesting segment. I'm super excited that we get to do this. Today, we will be analyzing another fascinating video. It is going to throw light into another angle of this whole idea or concept movement of Ambazonia, the formation of this Ambazonia idea, and what the young people should inhabit, learn from what just happened to us, so that moving forward, we will be able to make the necessary adjustments to build a more inclusive and conducive society. Because we might think this entire struggle is coming to an end, or the entire struggle has ended, because for us, the young people below the age of 40, we put an end to this entire struggle on the 11th of February 2024. And for those who do not know about that, I just want to keep emphasizing this so that we understand where we are. We are right now in the development stage, which is where we ought to be for the past 60 years. And we haven't really taken advantage of this developmental initiative to bring about transformation in our nation. We have been misguided, we have been misled, we have been deceived by our so-called intellectuals that we trusted to make wise decisions for us. So today, we the young folks, we were told when we were growing up that we are the leaders of tomorrow. And we are realizing that we have grown. And we are observing around the world and seeing how young people are rising up and making wise decisions that can shape their nation. And we believe it is our responsibility, both French-speaking Cameroonians and English-speaking Cameroonians, unanimously, we can work together and build our nation. That is why I make these videos. That is why I'm right here, right now with you, so that we can have a comprehensive view of our situation and make the necessary adjustments. So on that note, we are going to bring some key panels into this conversation so that we can understand exactly what is going on. But before I dive into that, there are some key words that I want you to write them down, research those words so that you can understand what is going on underneath this whole idea of Ambazonia. I would like for you to write down the word totalitarianism and research what that word means. Because what you will realize is we have been brainwashed, right? Because if you look at your surrounding as a minority in Cameroon, it is easy for you to adhere to these concepts or to this whole initiative of Ambazonia because you have been conditioned to think that you have been treated a certain way in that nation. And so your inclination towards this struggle is so strong because of this programming. And you need to understand what is happening with your subconscious mind, what has been done to your brain to make you feel and act this way. There is an idea called totalitarianism, right? And this group of people have always risen to challenge modern democracy. That is their whole idea. And it's all motivated by Marxism. And it's another term. I'll encourage you to write that down. So what is totalitarianism? So it is a system of government that is centralized and dictatorial and requires complete subservience, right? It requires complete what? Subservience to the state. This is what these individuals advocate for. There is a clear distinction between totalitarianism and nationalism. Nationalism is the love for your nation, patriotism, love for your country. that you can stand up as a young person and do what I'm doing. Because some people think, no, I encourage you to do what I'm doing. Harness the courage to do what I'm doing. Fight for your country, stand for your country, believe in your country, regardless of where you find yourself around the world. This is not pan-Cameroon idea. And I want to make a clear distinction, because people will say, okay, this is like the entire English-speaking Cameroonians or Cameroonians around the world mobilizing behind this concept. That is not what is happening here. This is not pan-Cameroon like what we have pan-Africanism. This is not what I'm doing here. This is patriotism. This is nationalism. Exercising love for your country. We have never been taught this for the past 63 years. Why? Especially in the English-speaking zone. Because we have been conditioned to feel this way towards our nation. We have been conditioned to hate our nation. We have been conditioned to think that we have been cheated. We have been conditioned to feel a certain way towards the government. And that has been one of the major hindrances to our development as English-speaking Cameroonians. I've dug deep into the root cause of this problem. I've looked at the possible solutions to this problem, and I've looked at the future outcome of this problem. And that is what I bring to you, so that we gain clarity, have perspective, and develop the love that we would have grown up with about our nation. And we're deprived of that because of these individuals with Marxist ideas. So you might be asking yourself the question, because there are many terms that surround this whole philosophy. So what is Marxism? Marxism is a political philosophy and method of socioeconomic analysis. It uses a materialistic interpretation of historical development, better known as historical materialism. So the whole idea of this Marxist idea is all the same thing like egalitarianism, right? They want this kind of equality of outcome, because egalitarianism would have been a good idea if we want equal opportunities, which is what the term egalitarianism really means, right? It's equal opportunity for everybody. Yes, everybody in Cameroon should have equal opportunity. But from what I understand, the people want equal opportunity. But people with this Marxist ideology, they want equal outcome, which is not achievable. And that is what most individuals with these ideas in the West, most of them have tried to push for this agenda to no avail. You cannot devise a system that produces equal opportunities and equal outcomes. We can push for equal opportunities. We should desire that everyone has a fair chance in Cameroon, but you cannot create equal outcome. And that is where they fall short with these ideas, right? So it is socialism, research that word, right? Marxism, research that word. Egalitarianism, research that word, and totalitarianism. These are four words that I've put before you so you can research what these individuals are doing. So this is how the whole strategy works. Their premise is always predicated on a lie. But you realize that they are very tactical, because most of these individuals have doctorate degrees behind their names, which means they have attended some classes, understand how to formulate their ideas in a way that is persuasive. They have all these logical ways of presenting their theories that is very persuasive. So with that, you fall prey easily. Number one strategy, they always build their premise on a lie. They have very little facts to their ideas. Then what they are going to do is they will look for a social problem that we are dealing with. Say you go apply for a job, you didn't get that job, and then you come back, they understand that you are feeling hurt because you didn't get that job, and they will tell you that the reason why you didn't get that job is because you are an Anglophone. And if you get told this over and over again, you'll believe it. that you didn't get this job not because you're not competent. They'll tell you didn't get this job because of the language you speak, because of your heritage as an Anglophone. And if they repeat the cycle, it is easy for them to stir you towards this direction, to hate the government, to feel marginalized, and all that. They will not tell you that you went to get a job, you didn't get that job. Why don't you think of starting a business? Why don't you think of working for the private sector instead for the government? They will not propose ideas like this. People who want genuine change in the society and in the community will always point you to the direction where you can find new opportunities, which is what I'm doing with you here, that there is no excuse. I put up a video today regarding a man that actually caught polio, right? He caught polio at a very young age. This man lived in a tube. He lived in a tube for his entire life. Got his high school certificate in that tube, got his law degree in that tube, made no excuse, used his mouth to type his own autobiography. He typed his biography with his mouth and made no excuse as to why he cannot be successful in life. And that is thrilling. And then my question becomes, we have no excuse why we should not succeed with 2 hands, 2 legs, a brain, and we can walk around. And that is the kind of message of duty and responsibility that I'm bringing to the youth of Cameroon. As you join us, I encourage you to begin to share this video. Let everyone know, because this is the reality. If we don't have a collective mind towards this transformation, and some of you might think you're fighting me, you're fighting yourself. And if we do not share these messages, what is going to happen is you might be transformed in your mind, right? But you step out there and you're trying to associate with other individuals that their mind has not been transformed, and they will become a hindrance to your own development. And that is why we should get everybody engaged. Because when we are engaged collectively, we'll be able to make sense of our problem and be able to carve a compelling future. Does that make sense? So that man's story was very fascinating. And these are stories that should inspire us to do better and do more with our lives. This is worse than what some people went through in the concentration camps in Germany. And this is why I throw light into this, because some people out there, we are maybe scared of white folks. When the polio vaccine came out, it was mandatory by the state for everyone to take the polio vaccine. And some people think when the white folks come down with maybe vaccines, they want to reduce your population, right? They want to kill you, or they have a plan, they don't like you, all of these stereotypes. And this Marxist socialistic individuals are the ones who created this kind of ideas and spread it within our community. And if the white folks hated us and they discovered the vaccine for polio, they wouldn't have distributed that around the world and to you black people or Africans if they hated you. We should not be taking the sins of the forefathers of the white folks when slavery and slave trade was going on and try to put that on the white folks that we see today. It doesn't make sense. It's just like we are trying to take the event of 1961 and we are trying to impose that on the French-speaking Cameroonians that we see today. And that doesn't make sense. And the whole idea of this Ambazonia movement started because of that notion. That is why my whole goal, people will think that the war is over and we will be fine. No, there is a lot of work to be done. We haven't even started. There's a lot of work to be done. Look at our GDP. Look at our country. Look at the houses that we live in. Look at the schools that we go to. Do you understand what I'm saying? Look at the conditions that the IDPs are living in. There is a lot of work to be done. A lot of work. We need hands. We don't only need Cameroonians, we might need people outside of Cameroon to help us with this work. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of reconstruction to be done. There's a lot of new constructions that need to be erected. And all of this, we need people. We need people. Do you understand what I'm saying? So with that, guys, I want us to dive straight into this video because it's going to help you understand an angle of this whole Ambazonia idea. You haven't really understood what is going on, but at least I've laid a foundation to show you. So these individuals will look at a social problem, they highlight that social problem, they stimulate your emotion, they do that again and again, and all of a sudden they tell you, go fight. The individuals who started this were a little bit slow with it, right? And they left it to people like Cho Ayaba, Chris Ano, or Seseko, and Sako. They left it to these individuals to pick up the mantle. They would have been the one to execute it, because most of the people that picked up ideas like this always go on to execute it, right? Gorjin Tinka is the founder of this whole idea, Ambazonia. Maybe you don't know. And this video that I'm producing today is aimed at addressing another key issue, because they've been saying that the government started the war. And I want to address that today. I want to prove to you that the government did not start the war, and the war of Ambazonia did not start today. It did not start today. We might see the manifestation today, but it did not start today. Our parents have screwed us up. All this Francophone hate in the Anglophone zone led us to where we are today. If you are 40 and below, you've been brainwashed your whole life to hate that nation. That's facts. And so they should quit all this small talk of the war started in 2016, or it was the government that declared the war. I'm going to prove that to you, but I just want to say this is a very lofty viewpoint about this whole struggle. You are dishonest. You are academically dishonest. You are intellectually dishonest if this is the premise that you hold. So I just thought I'd clear that out of the way, and then we'll dive into this video. So guys, stay glued to your screen. We are going somewhere. We are going to explore some of these concepts, look at it, break it down, make sense of it, give proposed solutions, and then we move forward. I encourage everyone that has not joined Nation Builders University, please do so. We need a growth mindset, collective growth mindset to pursue this cause. We will not make it if we don't think right together. I'm not buying this idea that people want to retire, they will go to Togo or they'll go to another African country because they cannot retire in Cameroon because of how the youth are, because of how dishonest the youth are. We will fix that in this generation. We will get our mindset right, we'll get our country back, and we will be able to do more with our lives in this generation. It can't pass us by. Take a look.
To me asking, what is it going to take for you guys to end the war? They point to the toll of suffering that our people go through on the ground. They say it is too much. I want everyone to hear me out. It is not on us to end the war. We do not hold the responsibility to end a war that we did not provoke. We are in this war only to defend ourselves, our freedoms, our territory, and our sovereignty. This is the crux of what lies at the heart of the Ambazonian war.
I want you to take note of what he just said, that the responsibility of ending the war is not on us because we did not start the war. I want you to observe how contradictory these individuals are. Some of them know what they are doing. Some of them are acting out of ignorance. Don't let their age fool you, because we come from a culture where if you're old, then you know more. And that is absolutely not true. I mean, absolute. That's why I use that word. It's heavy. They don't have a clue about what they are doing. You see what I'm saying? They are just Hitlers, cannibals, parasites in our community. All these guys with their ideas, we don't need to have them around in our communities. They don't like you. They hate you vehemently. They are very vicious with their strategy. Keep listening.
People of Ambazonia find themselves in a defensive position against what is perceived as colonization, annexation, and occupation by the government of La République du Cameroon,
So you see, those are the words they use. They use annexation, they use occupation, they use colonization, and all of that. They use all these phrases, all these words to define this problem, but that is not accurate. These individuals don't deal with facts. How can we conduct a plebiscite? Have a treaty of note? Have exchange of notes? How can we conduct a plebiscite, have an exchange of notes, and then you call that colonization? How can we have a system where we deem we have been colonized and yet prime ministers came from the English zone? This is dishonesty. How come Foncha became the prime minister of the system? Ask them this question. How can they annex you? They said it's an illegal union. How can it be an illegal union? And yet Foncha was the prime minister. Muna, Endele, all these individuals, Jua, these are Anglophones. They occupied prestigious positions under that government. Philemon Yang, all of these individuals have been prime minister under this nation. So, just starting with this, if we want to fight, if we really want change, if you start from a position of honesty, at least the young people will trust you, because this is a generation of young people that we fact check information. We don't just take what you say, because this is the thing, right? You're trying to deal with us using the mindset or the mentality of 1961, not understanding that this is a different generation. We will read, we will study extensively and verify the facts. We cannot have all these facts on the table and you are spreading this kind of messages. It just makes you look dishonest. And I'm telling you, this is dishonesty. To say this annexation, colonization, and occupation, all of this rhetoric that you use is very dishonest. And it's just to stir your emotion and make you angry. For those who have already sold into this lie that they are in a point of no return, this message is not for you. And that is why we draw the line, Cameroonians below the age of 40. We will deal with facts. Even if we have to advocate for change in that nation, we will stand on the truth. That this is where we are. This is how we came together. This is what this nation is right now based on the past. But how can we carve a compelling future moving forward? That is a good place to start. Keep listening.
That's exactly what it is. The burden, ladies and gentlemen, of ending the conflict, the war, is placed on those who initiated the aggression in the first place, not on those who are resisting and defending themselves. The call for an end to the war shouldn't be directed to those.
So first thing, I just want to let our people know, this is all bullshit and lies, okay? Again, the government of Cameroon did not start the war, and the government of Cameroon is not at war. These individuals and their groups are at war. Because if you look at the government of Cameroon, they have not deployed any strategy if this was a war. They are the ones calling it a war. There is no phrase or statement anywhere that you hear the president of Cameroon saying we are at war. If you don't know what war means in French, research that. La guerre. You have to look at what that means. You haven't heard the president or any individual saying this is what we are on right now. We are at war. They are the ones that have been using that statement. If the government really declared war and saying the French people are fighting us, the strategies of war, real war, is different. We have just been attacking the military. You see that? Because the French people are not yet involved. This is just the military addressing the issues in the Northwest and the Southwest. Do you understand what I mean? If it was really war, different strategies will be deployed. And that's why they are struggling to even make advancements, and they don't understand what they are doing because their definition of what is going on is crude, right? It's crazy. This is not war. If it was war, the number of people that have died is small compared to if we were really at war. We are not at war. You guys had an ideology, you had an idea, you were trying to manifest that idea, and the outcome is what you guys are getting. It's not war. And this is what they go everywhere saying. This is not war.
Those who are defending themselves, but to those who declared it in the first place, the burden is theirs. It is a demand for La République du Cameroon to take the necessary steps towards de-escalation and negotiation. It is incumbent upon Paul Biya and his government to recognize the impact of their actions and to seek a negotiated settlement.
Mike.
This includes acknowledging the legitimate grievances of the people of Ambazonia and engaging in...
You hear that? When you're calling Ambazonia, that is the problem. You've created a nation. You're using the name of that nation, and then you're calling on the president of another nation to end the war. You see how confusing they are with this whole movement because they're stuck, right? You cannot be calling on the government of another country to stop a war going on in your country, except you guys were allies. This is how confusing this whole theory is. Doesn't make sense.
Meaningful discussions to address the root causes of the conflict.
And you have a flag of a different nation behind you. That nation should help you, not the government of Cameroon.
The analogy of a knee on the neck aptly captures the power dynamic at play in the Ambazonian conflict. It is the knee of La République du Cameroon on the neck of Ambazonia. Rather,
and what he's using, some of you don't understand. When they're talking about knee of the, this whole idea has been prevalent in America. It's about the way police has been treating black people. Maybe you heard about the George Floyd incident and how the entire war rose up to that. And you just take these terminologies and then you throw them on our people and make it look like they are being treated terribly. And this is not right. Okay.
And the other way around. It vividly portrays the asymmetry of power and the oppressive nature of the situation. If Cameroon were to release its grip or her knee from our neck, the necessity for resistance would diminish, paving the way for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. Our objection, ladies and gentlemen, to unilaterally ending the war should not be misconstrued as a desire for prolonged conflict. Not at all. Instead, it is a principled stance grounded in the recognition that the onus is on the aggressor to initiate a resolution process.
Only inside.
That's interesting because they are calling for the end of the war. Sir, all you have to do is say to your people, stop fighting. All the guys that you have given them weapons to go out there kidnapping and doing all these atrocious acts within our community, just tell them to stop. And that's it. Do that. Come, I said it, like, come on your news media, your TV station, or your YouTube channel, and tell your people, pick up a phone, call them and say, stop, keep your guns down. And then let's see if the war will persist. And let all these boys come on social media and say, we have stopped the war. We will no longer remain in the bushes, picking up arms and fighting the state. Let these guys do that, and then let us see if the war will continue. And then we will know that the government really was at war with us. Does that make sense? Go do that.
Now I hear say a a bait, a bait, it be put on the heads of the fawns in Batibo, in Guzang, in Bessie, and their lives they be in danger in the hands of these same rogue fighters. And the population, their lives be at risk. And again, when I don't come to the point where when I consider for give up on the struggle for our freedom, not because when I don't need the freedom, not because when I not desire the freedom, when I not want the freedom, but because of the pain where people where they carry gun where they say that they fight for freedom, for one freedom, that they instead put one for inside. This one now my appeal for one. Giving up on your own freedom and the freedom of your children and their generations to come is not the solution. No be solution be that. But standing up for those who want to for hinder one freedom, standing up against those who fight against one collective freedom is the way to go.
You see, they use words like that to stir up your curiosity to keep fighting. Like they are trying to help you understand that you're fighting for your children and your children's children. That is not the way you fight for your children and your children's children. This strategy is ineffective. And he's producing this clip addressing the people of Momo, right? The people of Momo within that area, right? And the whole idea is he feels like these people have been treated poorly or some taxes have been imposed on these people. And he doesn't think that is a good step. My people, I want to help you guys understand that tribalism is real. Irrespective of how long these individuals have lived abroad, seen how the West works, looked at the democracy and development that has taken place in the West, they will come back home and not advocate to eradicate certain practices that are hindering our own development. Tribalism is one of them. Nepotism. There are many companies and organizations that will only hire people from their tribe in the Northwest and the Southwest, in Cameroon. And that is a huge factor to our own development. Does that make sense? I've done the studies for us. I've looked at books that explains 21 civilization, nations that have arisen, and today some of them are still strong, and how they got where they are today. You have been told that most of the Western nations never had tribes. They had tribes like us, and they struggled with those tribes. They found it hard to achieve national unity. You probably heard about the time where the Anglophones had to dissolve their political parties and form one party. I think I watched a clip of that today. They dissolved their political parties and they formed one party. And the question is, why did they do that? Because all of these parties, these different political parties was causing confusion. There was conflict of interest. There was a power dynamic that was taking place within the Anglophone zone. And so they agreed that we would dissolve our parties, form one party in Cameroon. They did that collectively. And why? Because they could never achieve unity with these fragmented groups of different political parties within the Anglophone zone. This is the time for us to dissolve all of these tribes. There are certain traditional values that I believe that we should keep. But this whole concept of tribes, because Chris Anu is talking about this because he comes from Momo. He's making this audio to address how the people of Momo have been treated by other groups. When the people of Nkambe were mercilessly killed, I did not hear this sentiment or this rhetoric come out of him. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I did not see him condemn that act vigorously, vehemently, that this is not right. I did not hear him say that. He's saying this because he is from that tribe. There is an element of tribalism that is eating us up. There are some people right here, because I come from Bamenda, you have a problem with it. Because I don't come from Southwest, you have a problem with this. You see what I'm saying? And these are the people that want to keep dividing us so that we don't unite and achieve our goals and achieve our dreams. He doesn't care about you guys. I don't care whether he comes from Momo. The people of Momo, I want to let you know, he does not care about you. Look at all the people that have died in Momo. In Kambe, did you talk about it like that? Let's keep listening to this clip. It's a very important clip. Stay glued to it and you understand what is going on. All the tribes, we need to have to get rid of these tribes. And young people, I'll give you guys the way forward. You see, most of their so-called ritualistic events that they conduct, this is time for you guys to start boycotting those events. I was discussing with a very smart young man from Cameroon. We were sharing ideas on this topic. And he's like, there are certain tribes where if a corpse come out of a mortuary, the locals experiment with the body before they bury the individual. And they might cut certain parts of that dead body and keep it. And I'm like, this is very barbaric. And he says the law rebukes, the law is against such practices. But the locals will violate the law. We cannot live in a nation where we are governed by tribes and governed by law. Governed by tribes and governed by the state. That is why we are not progressing. That is why we are broke and backwards. That is why you will be successful and be scared to go to your village. That is why you cannot build a good house in your village. They will be jealous of you and they will kill you. Tribes are dangerous. That is why the villages are not developed. Because they are hostile towards foreigners. They will not sell land to someone that doesn't come from that tribe. And all of these barricades that they have erected, it makes you become a prey that they can just kill you even in times like this. That is why opening up, dissolving these tribes should be the next step. And young people, if they want to continue with it, you can boycott all of these rituals that are aimed at violating the law and inflicting pain. All these barbaric practices, we have to get rid of them because the consequences are imminent. Do you understand? The white folks had traditions stronger than us. When you hear, even in your Bible, you hear about Abraham taking his son up the mountain to crucify the son. You think God just said that to Abraham at that time. There was a culture that people actually sacrificed their children. There was a culture like that in Abraham's time. The West have always had terrible traditions like us. At some point in their evolution, they got rid of those traditions because they were impediments to progress. And this is the time where we have to rise up and say, because look at what has gone on. Like right now, there's a lot of tribalism going on within the struggle. And I've heard all of the stories. Tribes are indirectly attacking each other within the struggle. He's advocating for the people of Momo because he is from Momo. And that is why I want to bridge this gap. Let's get rid of all these tribes. We are Cameroonians, regardless of where you come from. Do you understand? Or else we will be backwards. Our development is going to be slow. I'm telling you, it's facts. Many nations that decided to stay like us, do the things we are doing, they are still broke, poor, and backwards today. You might think it's the white man trying to attack you. No, these things are real. Their consequences are evident. When they bring a polio vaccine, they say, no, the white man is trying to reduce your population just to scare you from protecting yourself. And all of a sudden, they will travel to the same countries, go to the best hospitals, and get themselves treated when they are sick. And then when they come back, they spread conspiracy theories to keep you subjugated and backwards. And this is why I'm rising up to free you, to let you know you don't have to subject yourself to their ideas. All these myopic Marxist ideologies, we have to get rid of them. And for those who are trying to sway others from worshiping God in Africa, I want to let you know we've seen this thing in the West. Don't even try it. Don't even try it in Africa, especially in Cameroon. There's no space for you there. If you don't believe in God, good with that. Any society that doesn't believe in God struggles. Any society that a foundation is not embedded in God struggles. Any society that is half God and half tradition struggles. God on Sunday, native doctor on Monday struggles. Facts. God says, I'll never share my glory with anyone. Facts.
We hear say them declare a lockdown inside Mogamo. We don't know why. We don't know what them see inside Mogamo, inside Batibo, and all of that area. We don't know what they see and for there. But if we dey fight for freedom, and some people they wake up, they do their own thing, where they instead hinder the freedom and drive people away from the freedom, then the people get for stand up and take a collective decision, a collective resolve where it talks say, if now so that when I own freedom, when I the fight that when I own freedom, then it not still be not a fight where all we there inside, and so we not get any obligation for obey one, for listen for one, for respect one. When I get for take that collective decision for stand up against such rogue actions and rogue fighters. Now, so when I get for the side, no, but when I not supposed, when I not get for talk, say we will give up on the freedom. You give up on the freedom, you surrender to the same rogue people. They will kill one. They will increase one torture.
So that is exactly what is going on. And I just want to let you understand that the same thing, right? That is what you would have empowered the people to do for their own destiny. You're saying this because you feel like you're being attacked and your tribe is being attacked, not because you have genuine love for the people. And to let you guys understand, my people, these people are power hungry. They don't care about you. They are loyal to their vision more than they are loyal to your freedom. I know their philosophy because I've studied it extensively. It's just an extension of Marxism. It's an extension of totalitarianism. That is what they are manifesting. And it is your time. Like he said, you have the power. If this struggle persists, then the people adhere to it because you have the power to stop it. Now, I want to fast track this and take you guys to this whole concept when they tell you that the struggle started with the government in 2016. And I've said that is absolutely not true. So I want to introduce you guys to the founder of the Ambazonia movement. They don't talk about him that much. You go on their websites, they don't put him there. They will go ahead and put Mona, Joa, and the rest, but they don't put their founder on their own website. This is the guy who founded the whole idea of Ambazonia. It did not start in 2016. It started in 1985. And prior to 1985, this concept has been premeditated since in the 60s. It's not today. So take a listen.
Please take very great note of this. If you decide to be using Cameroonian nationality as a flag of convenience, it is because you decide to use it as a flag of convenience. But international law does not regard you as Cameroonians. And the Treaty of Funban, Article 1, goes to spell it out. It states, nationals of the federated state. shall become Cameroonian citizens and shall possess Cameroonian nationality. This means when your country, which was then called United Nations Trust Territory of Southern Cameroon under United Kingdom administration. Can you listen? That's how to describe a country. Is that the name of a country? Is that the name of a country? United Nations Trust Territory of Southern Cameroon under United Kingdom administration. That is a whole definition of an area. It's not the name of a country. We are coming to why you are not considered as Cameroonians. This identification by description.
When you see that flag flying, that is in 1990, when I was born. Gojin Dinka is the founder of the idea of Ambazonia. These people have been always looking for a way to manifest this, and they have been transferring it from one generation to another. It did not start in 2016. War was in the mind of these people. They have conditioned us to grow up and hate French and hate French-speaking Cameroonians. This is the mindset. They've conditioned us to believe that our oppression and the reason why we are not succeeding is because of French. This is the truth. And when we accept these things, we will start finding a sustainable solution to our problem. Denying this is naive. When he talks about war, there's no video clip where Pobia openly declares war. We have always, the teachers and lawyers were marching. How did it result to Ambazonia? How did we end up with Ambazonia? No one asks this question. And we say we are in our struggle. Why should we be struggling? Our struggle, that's the phrase they use. Why should you be struggling? Why are you struggling? Why are you using those kind of words? Why are you struggling? Why? In 2024, why should we be struggling? So keep listening, but that is the founder. They try to hide him. They don't talk about him that much. I don't know why. Because if they talk about him, you guys will know that this thing did not start today. That is why they don't want you to know more about Gojin Dinka. When the name changed from the Republic of Cameroon, when the name changed, right, in 1984, when the name changed from the United Republic of Cameroon to the Republic of Cameroon, this man assumed that is cessation, that French-speaking Cameroonians had seceded from that union, created this whole concept, went around spreading these ideas. It is not today. I'm telling you, my friends, the Cameroon government knows, Pobia knows about this movement, and he knows that these people were at war already. 2016 is a manifestation of what has been premeditated. Do not be deceived. And that is how you guys fall prey to this, pick up arms, and you're fighting, and you don't understand the root cause of the problem. And that is why I take this time to do this research, present this data, so that you can be able to make sense of your life and not be a victim anymore. This man was traveling around the United States and other parts of the world, preaching to Cameroonians about the idea of Ambazonia. So when you're talking to people today and they don't want to think, it's because they have been conditioned for a very long time. And if you do this to any group of people, it is easy for you to lead them to war. Just like what Hitler did to the Germans. It is easy to convince smart people like the German people to go into a war, thinking that they are better than everybody else. Do you understand what I'm saying? The war never started in 2016. Pobia never declared a war. These are truths. You guys were at war. You started the war. End the war. For you guys above the age of 40. For us, 40 and below, the war had ended. If you're 40 and below and you're still engaged in any practices that takes people's lives and maybe confiscate people's property, that is illegal. We are not with you. And I want to let you know, get knowledge here. Do your research for yourself and carve a future for yourself, your children, and your wife. You can get money from kidnap, but you're going to waste that money very soon, and very soon a bullet is going to catch up with you. This is time for you to sit down and reflect. This is a young person like you that knows and have studied that history and is talking to you. When people have crossed 40, it is hard for new information to come in. And this is what God was showing me about this whole thing. And it is scientifically proven. When people are above the age of 40, it's hard for new information to come in. They will be stuck with what they know till they go into their grave. And if you're taking an idea from them, you will go into your grave. If your philosophy about life and your beliefs about that country is from this dude, is from this people, you are guaranteed to go to your grave because they've crossed the threshold. It is hard for them to absorb new information. That is why the future of that nation is in your hands. You will have to create systems, create hospitals, create businesses that will take care of these people in the next 10 or 20 years when they are old. Because there are many old folks in there and they are looking up to us to create an ecosystem where they can thrive. Losing your life and dying is not worth it. If you think one day that they will get up and change their mind, all of a sudden it is hard. When you've crossed 40, it is hard. Very few people change after that age. Do your research on that. The lies that they have been conditioned with for a very long time, it is hard for them to deviate from it. They can look for every fact to back up what they are saying, and you will keep fighting, thinking that it is the right thing to do, and you will lose your life. And they don't care about you. A fang was laid in the market square. Nobody came to pick up his carcass. What happened? Did they care about him? And you think all of a sudden they care about you? You really think they care about you? I don't care how much money you make from this war that they have created. Something is going to happen to you someday. You will lose it. And you will lose it. Your children are going to struggle. Your wife will struggle. Your family is going to struggle when you die. Take your destiny into your hands. These are the individuals that distorted history and created this whole movement. This is the founder. He's coming from Widdicombe. He created the idea called Ambazonia. He studied law in UK, came back to Cameroon in 1964 and started pushing this agenda. Had a loophole in 1985 and initiated the whole idea called Ambazonia. Picked up the movement, traveled around and started inspiring and feeding us. Some of us were not born when he started this movement. And today you get yourself caught up with this whole Ambazonia idea and you think it started in 2016. You really think so? Rethink again. Okay, I just want to go right to the end of this clip so you can hear him declare war. So at the minimum, the war started in 1990. I think this clip was presented, I think it's September 1st, 1990. And he said the Fumban Treaty, there was no treaty adopted at Fumban. I don't know what you're talking about. This a lawyer, a learned individual, he doesn't have a clue. He doesn't even know about the Southern Cameroon House of Funds and the decision that they made saying, oh, we will neither join Nigeria or join the French-speaking Cameroonians. He doesn't know about any of that. He doesn't have an accurate understanding of the history of that country. And yet he created a movement and intellectuals are running after that. He's talking about the treaty in Fumban. There was no treaty in this speech. I will extend the full link to the video so you can watch for yourself because the whole goal here is to analyze what they are doing. But I just want to let you know there was no treaty adopted at Fumban. It was a conference aimed at discussing the proposed constitutions. He doesn't know his history. If you make a mistake once, we'll get it. But he mentioned that about 2 times or 3 times in this video talking about the Fumban Treaty. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he created a movement that has gone on to claim thousands of lives today People have run out of their villages. Some have traveled in the diaspora and they haven't returned because of an idea. That's why I'm careful about idea. And what I'm saying here, you might think is like, what I'm saying here is life. If you think words are myopic, if you think it's just talk, no, a talk from this man created Ambazonia. A word from this man created Ambazonia. People are fighting today because of a word. Don't underestimate speeches that can move you to take actions, because that is it. Logos, powerful. In your Bible, in the beginning was the word was with God, and the word manifested itself in flesh. That is powerful. The Logos. Even the Greeks talk about the Logos, the power of the Logos. The Logos embodies everything. I'm going to preach a video on or do a sermon on all of what the Logos is. You underestimate speech. The greatest wars in history started with speeches. The greatest wars in history ended with speeches. Mediations are done with speeches. Reconciliation is done with speeches. Having a good word that unites people. That's why I said I have a lot of empathy for the people of Northwest Bamenda, because they are loyal to their leaders and they believe that their leaders are right. That is why it is easy for them to be misled. And they will be resilient while being misled because of their loyalty to the people that they believe know better and is guiding them to the right direction. I don't blame the people of Bamenda at all. I do not. I do not blame even the Amba boys. I know what is going on with them. This kind of manipulation is possible. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. If Hitler did it, Stanley did, Mao did it, and what more of our people? They will be manipulated easily and they will fall prey and become victims and be fighting to remain in that victimhood status because of individuals like this that propagate this kind of initiative. But enough is enough. We will not follow that trend. I'm saying we are going to erect statues of Ambazonia in the Anglophone zone so that our children rise up and see that and never try it again. You think these people are giving up? They haven't. They are defeated. That is why they are trying to call on peace, because they are defeated. They feel like they should rest and then start another day. But what I want us to do is put a complete end to this idea in that nation. Erect statues of Ambazonia so that our children rise up and say, this is a terrible idea that we had some year, and this is what it cost us. Thousands of lives because of this idea. And we said no to this. This is what we, the people of this generation, are rising up to say, to create, to do. And like I'm saying, if we cooperate, we will start taking massive action. They've downgraded the achievements of Ninjon Frunzi. And that is our hero. He is the one that rose up when the government needed to be challenged and stood up for us. They are power hungry. How can you discredit the reputation of Ninjon Frunzi as an Anglophone? It doesn't make sense. And you guys allowed that. They got to a point where they were saying his cops will not come to Bamenda. Seriously? And you guys watched this happen. When you bring down your own heroes, who are you going to look up to if you want to rise as a young person? Who are you going to look up to? And we watched that. They are power hungry. The philosophy that is guiding their actions is all predicated on power. They believe it's all power. If you hear them, they say, we have guns, we have power, we have guns. That is what they think. They think the world runs on power. And that is a very lofty idea. The world runs on competence. The world is based on competence, not based on power. The world is being run based on competence, not on corruption. And that is your limited perspective of your idea that you're propagating to remain relevant with this concept. Do you understand what I'm saying? Never again. Never. It will be never, never, and never on every statue that we erect about this Ambazonia idea. That this will never happen. The Anglophones people, and we are not terrorists. We don't practice this kind of actions. We are not here with Odeshi and all this craziness. This is not who we are. We've never been this. This distortion of our history, manipulation of our culture, bringing strange gods into our land, misleading the youth, and they go lose their lives, and you say the government created all of this. So you have the power to mobilize individuals to raise money to go perpetuate and act like this, and you cannot mobilize people to raise the same money to develop their community. I wish you guys were imposing taxes so that people can contribute to build roads. It's the government that ought to do that, right? The amount of money that has gone towards this war, we could build roads, we could build factories, we could be able to establish plantations and have tractors shipped from abroad, from China, and build our communities and feed our people. You're stuck with 1961 and some factories that they closed in 1961. Create new ones. Create new factories. There are some people who never went to school. Today they are creating bombs. So education is not an excuse. I want to let you know, not going to school, if you didn't go to school, it is not an excuse. You guys have learned how to create bombs, but you don't know how the periodic table looks like. You cannot name the elements of the periodic table, but you have been able to put some chemicals together and create explosives. Education, not going to school, is not an excuse. We can use the same energy to create businesses, to develop our communities, to be upright citizens, to participate and make a major contribution, to move that nation forward. There is no excuse, guys. No excuse. I didn't go to school. That is no excuse. I don't have time. That is no excuse. That is no excuse. You have time. I don't have money. That is no excuse. You have money. You drank alcohol today. You have money. You were fooling around with a young girl today and you spent some money buying burning fish and all of that. You have money. Don't tell me excuse. No excuse. This is the generation of no excuse. We will make it happen. And that is the idea. That's all. You see what I'm saying? That is it.
In Bangla alone, they raised down the whole gendarme barrack they raised it with fire. Now, you're a young man. And time has come for you people to pick up the gun and pursue this fight to a logical conclusion.
Did you hear that? As young men, the time has come for you guys to pick up guns and follow this cause to its logical conclusion. That came out of Gojin Dinka's mouth in 1990. Thank God for these tapes. So do you still believe the war started in 2016? Do you still think the war started in 2016? It came out of his mouth. You are young men. It is time for you to pick up guns and follow this cause to its logical conclusion. That is what he said. When people go around saying that the struggle started in 2016, it did not start in 2016. Gojin Dinka has said it. As young men, it is time for you to pick up guns. It's time for you to pick up guns and follow this cause to its logical conclusion. Do you understand? So I think we're going to wrap this message to an end. But my whole idea was to show you guys the government did not start the war. Anglophones were at war. They have been at war. So Chris Anu will tell the boys to reframe themselves. Stop the war. The war will end. You don't need to sit on the table with the government to end this war. Spread this message around. Let every young person know the war has ended. Let's start thinking of how to build our communities. Do the right thing. For the very first time in 63 years, let's learn to love Cameroon. We've never been taught that. We've never had that. Let's dissolve these tribes that are causing division among us and build a more inclusive society. That is the remedy for the problems that we are dealing with. Let's give individuals jobs based on competence, not based on the tribe that they come from. That is the solution. You should be given what you deserve and not because of the tribe you come from. Yeah. When we start doing that, our communities will be better. We value individuals based on talent. You go around, you stop calling people pa. I mean, they are not your father. Call them by their first name. We should respect people in the community based on their competence, not based on the because of age. We respect people because of age in our community. And that is not a good society. We have to stop all of that, or else we will struggle, we'll be poor, we'll keep turning around and hoping that things change with our own ways. Our ways are not working. Our ways of going about things are not working. We have to look for what works and implement that and get results. I hope this message penetrates your soul. Go ahead and share the video. Invite more people. If you haven't signed up for our university, please do so. The phone number is right there on your screen. Get engaged. If you stay quiet, tomorrow you'll be used as another pawn for another game, and you will not know what they are doing. And at Nation Builders University, we educate you, give you perspective on life, that you become an informed citizen, to know who you are, and so you cannot be misled. Your children and your family members will not be misled. So I love you guys so much, and I hope you got some value out of this video. And until next time, stay blessed, guys. We are going somewhere together.